If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Well, I thought I'd pick a different spot today. It's getting more difficult to find spots that I haven't shown you before because there's a lot of climbing. And as I've mentioned in several videos now, climbing in these at the North Rim Grand Canyon at, well, I think 8,800 feet, I think that's about 1.5 miles. You get winded really easy. There's just not a lot of oxygen up here. It takes a lot of effort to do just about anything. Got another week at this spot, and then we'll move on. I think we're going to move on in that direction. It's just over my right shoulder here. Sure is a beautiful area out here in the National Forest in Arizona. And there are several national forests in Arizona, but it's down south, more southern. I'm up here in the northern Arizona. And Coconino, I think is what it's called, down there in the southern Arizona. It's pretty hot down there right now. Got a report from Harold that the Coconino National Forest has got several campgrounds that they're going to start charging, and a couple of them were free. I've reported on this in several different locations, and everybody would always tell me, well, it's never going to happen over in Arizona. It's just never going to happen, never going to happen. Well, it is happening. And here's an example of it happening. They're raising and changing prices and making free to non-free. National Forests and the BLMs and the national parks budget from the government is being reduced all the time. And it's not hard to research. I just read an article yesterday that the national parks are going to have to start considering closing some national parks so they can put more resources into national parks that have more value to them. Government agencies are starting to recognize that this just isn't sustainable, that we're going to lose national parks. So the Grand Canyon, I would assume the Grand Canyon brings in enough revenue that they'll keep this one open. But then, you know, what national park will they close next? We just came from a national park over just east of us, Navajo National Monument, that is ran by the National Park Service, and I mean there's hardly anything there. So do they give that one up and keep the Grand Canyon? So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. The budget just isn't there to keep these things open. But in Florida, I reported on 2 different national forests that are changing the prices or making free into paid. The Apalachicola National Forest, they proposed, I think, 4 or 5 campgrounds from free to $10 or from $3 to $20. And when that proposal didn't pass, because they had to get input from the public, they just shut several of them down. Kept some of them open, some of them down, shut down. So not near many places to camp there, even if you were to pay, than there was the year before. The Osceola National Forest, they are proposing several, I think 4 of them from free to $10, and they've already shut 2 of them down. So without even a proposal, they shut 2 of them down. Now, here's the thing I find interesting. We stayed in a state park in Missouri State Park, one fall. We had to stay there. We normally stay at free campsites or free dispersed camping, wherever we can find a spot. Well, this particular time we had to come up there on an emergency. We had a family member that was sick, so we came up there and just out of desperation, we stayed at a state park, and we paid $15 a night. Very reasonable price considering what they're charging. I mean, a free campground in Florida, they went from free to $10. And there's a vaulted toilet. In this state park, we had electric, we had Wi-Fi, we had water, shower, and running water bathrooms. The shower was heated water with a heated room. It was because it was fall time. It was in the 30s and 40s at night. Here in Coconino National Forest, they're doing some price increases, and the first thing I can tell you about every one of these price increases is there is not one campground that has electric. Now here's the thing about the price increase at the Coconino National Forest. You would think, okay, maybe they're just doing a percentage increase, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever it was. But they're not. They vary between campgrounds. Sometimes based on the campground itself, there's 2 different prices in some of them. What I kind of gathered is the ones that are more popular, they're raising the price more than the ones that weren't being used as much. So the Blue Ridge is going from $8 to $20. And the only thing it has is water and Volta toilets. Now remember, State Park in Missouri was $15. And this is quite common. Actually, I know of an RV park that charges $20 a night. And again, it has electric, water, shower, Wi-Fi. This is not even competitive with privately owned campgrounds, RV parks. The Clint's well, it was free. And now they're going to charge $10, and the only thing it had was Volta toilets, so they don't even have water. The Kehl Springs, it's Kehl Springs. Again, free to $10, and the only thing it has is Volta toilets, no water. The Knoll Campground, Knoll. Now, it had varying prices. A single campground was $15. A double campground was $28. And so the 15 is going up to 20, and the 28 is going up to 40. So there's one where the percentages of increase don't even match each other in the same campground. And the only thing it has is water and Volta toilets. And then we got Rock Crossings. It was $8 and $16. So 8 went to 20 and 16 went to 40. So, I mean, that was even a more significant increase than the last one, 28 to 40. This one's 16 to 40. And again, Volta toilets and water. So they say they're trying to stay competitive with similar campgrounds around them, but I couldn't find any campgrounds that was charging that much for such limited resources. So what they're saying is we're going to charge as much for these campgrounds that the privately owned campgrounds are going to charge. I'm just speculating here that the reason they're increasing it is twofold. One, they're trying to collect revenue because they're losing so much revenue from the government. And the second reason, and this one I think is actually more prominent than the first, they're trying to discourage the free nomadic lifestyle. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.